Alright, y'all. I wanted to show y'all right quick. I kind of did a video on this last year. If I was to get out the way, on how to harvest your poke salad or pokeweed or poke greens or whatever you want to call it. I forget the plant name of this, Americana, something, whatever. Um, but it grows pretty much everywhere in the U.S. It's one of the first. Hey, sit down, sit down. No. Sit. Really? You're gonna be bad on camera. What's new? Anyhow, this is one of the first greens that usually comes up in the spring. This is for Lonzo. You can't lay on it. Anyhow, one of the first greens that comes up in the spring. A lot of people are worried about it because they hear that if you eat it, it'll kill you, it'll make you sick, you'll die, etc., etc. Not the case. If you know what you're doing. When you cook this, what you want to do is, well, first let me show you how to harvest it. So I took the whole stalk because I didn't want this growing where it was growing. I think I showed y'all in the garden where it was growing. I didn't want it growing there. So I pulled up the whole stalk. If you want to keep the plant and let it come back, because, for instance, hey, be quiet. And she can't even go nowhere, and I ain't even got time to be fooled her. Iris, come here. Iris, come here. Iris, come here. Come here. Look at her. Look at her. Look at her. Look at her. The guard dog. I ain't got time for that. If you rip these leaves off right here, the plant will basically just keep making new leaves like that. However, when you harvest this, see how this stem is pink? You don't want it to be too much darker than this, and you want these leaves to be pretty tender. The older this gets, the more red this gets, and the more red it gets, especially if you see seed pods at the top, you most definitely don't want it. It's too old. The toxins have come from the roots up into the plant. But to cook this, basically, and I did do a video on how to cook this, by the way. To cook it, basically, what you want to do is you want to boil this twice. So you want to boil it once for about, I usually boil mine for 2 to 3 minutes the first time. And then you want to take the greens out, pour all that liquid down the drain. Do not eat that liquid, because basically what you're doing is you're boiling what would be toxins out of this. And then you want to boil it one more time. The second time I boil it, I might boil it for about another 2 to 3 minutes. I don't boil mine to death because I don't like my food to be super, super mushy. Now, if you're scared, boil it longer than that. I've heard people talking about the first time they boil it 10 minutes. The second time they boil it 15 minutes. Go right ahead. I can tell you right now it's going to be mush. Which, I mean, if you don't care, then that's fine. I mean, these are so tender, they'll never be, anything that'll be kind of, like they're not like collards. They're not gonna have a chew to them. You know how collards do. They're not gonna have that. They're gonna be a lot more like the consistency of spinach when you eat them. Then after you boil them twice and you pour the water off both times, then you can do whatever you want to do to them. In my video, I mixed them with eggs. That's an old school way. You don't see a lot of people talking about, mixing poke salad with eggs, onions, and I think I put some sausage in mine or something. You don't have to have the meat. You can just do if you just want to do poke salad with eggs, onions, a little garlic, it turns out just as good. Or another way you can do these is to mix them with your other greens. Say mustards or turnips. They'll go good with that because the texture of them is the same. Although I've mixed them with collards before. I've mixed them with various different kinds of greens. You can use this the same way you would use spinach. So any dish you would use spinach. For instance, I saw a recipe for some poke salad and artichoke dip. I want to show y'all this right quick. See this right here? This is going to turn into the seed pods, but you see how little it is? If these seed pods are bigger and more defined, you know what I'm saying? Your poke salad is I wouldn't harvest it at that stage, me personally. I try to get it, like I said, when the seed pods are that small, it's straight. I've also heard of people eating the stem. They say like this part of the stem. Let me show you the difference. Hold on, let me break this. Actually, I don't have to break it. I can show you on this one. Okay, you see, y'all see that hollow part down there? That circle in the middle of this one? See that part? You don't want to use that part. It's too tough and it's too fibrous. Because if you notice, you can peel these fibers back almost like celery. This part of the stem is going to be real tough. But if you look up here, this part of the stem is real tender. Cause see, I can barely bend it before it starts breaking. They say you can cut that, batter it, fry it. It tastes like fried okra. I've never done it before. I know plenty of people who have and swear by it. I just mainly use the leaves myself. I said I was gonna try that one day though. But like I said, you just pretty much want to use the real tender parts. You can harvest this as small as you want to harvest it, like even if it's like 6 inches tall or whatever, harvest it. You know, like the stem can still be green, harvest it, you'll be fine. But like I said, if it's any more than pink, see how this is kind of pinkish green? Shout out to the AKs, but I'm not an AK, by the way. But if you notice it's kind of pinkish green, don't wait till it get red, it's too far. You know what I'm saying? If it's looking like that, too much. That this was really short. I wouldn't really fool with that. That's a little too red, and it's all wilted and stuff. I was just getting that out the garden because, like I said, I don't want that over there anymore. I'm gonna dig the roots out because it ain't gonna do nothing but keep growing back. But yeah, I'm harvesting this basically for my neighbor. My neighbor's old school. He's like 60 something years old, and he grew up on this stuff too, just like my granny did. Like I said, this is a real kind of old school. I ain't gonna say southern because I know some people in the north that eat it, but I know a lot of people in the south used to eat it. Alright, y'all, well, my battery died. I just went on and finished harvesting the rest of it, but here's what I got. I got me a nice little bag full. This is going over to my neighbor's house. So he can enjoy this. No advertising for TJ Maxx. But yeah, that's that. So that's how you harvest your poke salad. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.